Hi guys, welcome to the channel. This video is part of a program called Soft Skills for Gen Z Team Leaders. If you're a newly promoted team leader or manager, this is an ideal starting place to be thinking about what you need to progress in your new role. It can be quite daunting, I know, to take on the team leader role, especially if you've been promoted from within the team. So we're exploring all of those important interpersonal human skills which make a real difference to your success. Okay, our first module then is called Professional Identity. And you'll see from the screen that it's part of 6 modules that we run in this course. It's a course which I've been running now for over 20 years with some fantastic results. And of course, we run it online and face-to-face as well. But I really wanted to create a series of videos for people to be able to access whenever they needed some support and learning around these topics. Okay, let's get started. Professional identity. What does that term conjure up for you? Really, it's who you think you are. Who are you in this role? You've been a team member for some time, and now suddenly you've been given the opportunity to become a team leader. You might have applied for a job within the organisation or outside somewhere else, and in which case that's quite a useful thinking period because you will have had to have thought through your application, your interview, been thinking what it might be like to actually manage a team. Or you might be part of quite a large group of managers who have been asked to step up. Maybe somebody's gone off on long-term sick, or perhaps the organisation you're in is just struggling to find someone to step into the role, and you're really good at the job that you've been doing, so you've been invited to step up. Which one applies to you? Do tell us in the comments. I'd love to know. But whichever it is, it's really helpful for you to start thinking of yourself as the team leader. It's a bit of a shift in mindset that's required, because you're going to go from the person who had lunch with a group of friends or went out for drinks after work with some colleagues, and suddenly now you're going to have to manage their performance. You're going to need to set some boundaries around that, because although you might be really tempted to stay the friend and be the manager, actually that's an impossible task and completely unfair on you and your colleagues who are your team members. So you are going to need to think through what it means to step up into that role and start managing people. So this short module on professional identity should help you with all of that. So let's get going then. Let's look at these 6 key elements of professional identity. Now you'll see on the slide that on the outside we've got knowledge and skills, and I've added knowledge supported by AI, because obviously, whether we like it or not, AI is coming in very rapidly. It's being embedded in organisations and the way we work, and I'm sure you're going to be using it. So knowledge is all of the information that you've got to grips with, that you understand, the things that you know how to do. You might be bringing specific technical knowledge to the role. You might have built up knowledge about systems and processes within the business that you work for. I'm sure you have. You might have particular knowledge around managing customers. Perhaps you work with the public. Whatever it is, you will have a very specific knowledge bank to draw on. It's worth taking some time to think about that and think about what knowledge you're bringing to this role, particularly in those moments when the self-doubt creeps in. Remember, you've got specific knowledge. Then you've also got a skill set. and you will have been developing those skills in your team member role, and you're adding to those all the time. So knowledge and skills, quite nice and simple and easy to get our heads round. But it's the 4 elements on the inside which are particularly interesting. So let's think about personality. Your personality is really important as a team member, but there is no right or wrong personality. It's just that you will lead through your personality. The way you communicate is informed by your personality. The really big thing here to think about is the importance of being consistent. Because I remember working for a senior manager who was really mercurial. So what that means is that she'd come in one day and be very open and pleasant and ask you how you were and how the family was. And then the next day she'd come in, slam the door and blank everybody. And you never knew which side of her personality was going to come in through that door every morning. And that made it quite stressful. You were just waiting and watching for clues. So be consistent. And whether you have an outgoing personality or not, it's really helpful for your team members if you do start the day with saying good morning and asking how people are. Just those small social interactions can make a big difference to people. Don't ignore those. Don't overlook them and think that they're a waste of time or we're all here to work and everyone should have their head down. Yes, we're all here to work, but we're human. And remember, these are human skills. And to get the best out of people, it really helps to be open and agreeable and just connect with people during the day just to see how they are. Okay, personality. Right, let's move on to think about the next one, which is emotions. And boy, is this one important. Because, we're all human beings, so we all have emotions. But everybody is watching you and observing your emotional responses. So if you're somebody that flares up quickly, that can be quite difficult. It's okay to be passionate about what you believe in, about the work that your team are doing, about the business. Of course, people expect you to really connect with that purpose and the contribution the team needs to make. But they also need a manager who can manage their emotional responses. Having outbursts, getting angry, swearing can really take its toll on people. It's draining to work for somebody that is not in control of their emotional responses. So think through how you are with your team members, how you respond to when those times when you're under pressure. Because we can all be happy and affable when things are going well, of course. The real test as a team leader is what are your emotional responses like when the pressure's on, when there's a deadline, things still need to be doing. Can you galvanize the team to actually do the work? Can you motivate people to get going and do so in a positive way? Or are you just coming down hard on people and actually then the walls go up and people start to disconnect? Sometimes we get into difficulty in intergenerational teams because expectations are different. So it's helpful as a team leader for you to set out your expectations very early on. This is how I want to work with people. This is what I expect, and this is what I'm going to be giving to support you. It's a two-way street. So don't forget to be really clear on what you're expecting from people up front and where those boundaries are. If you've got an open door policy, don't be surprised if people use it and come in and to want to talk to you and ask questions. If you need to actually protect some time to get an important report done or have a private call with your senior manager, then say to people, I'm not available in this time, or make it clear from your diary about the times that you can be, when somebody can come in and ask you questions. So get really clear on how you want to manage people, on how you want to manage your time, and the top things which are most important to you, and think through how you respond under pressure. And there'd be clues from previous work roles, on how you felt when you're under pressure. Does the frustration explode out of you? Can you keep going? How do you manage your own stress, for example? Or if you haven't got examples from work, you might have examples you can think of from your social life or from sport, for example, about how you're managing your responses. And it might be okay to get fired up when you're watching your favourite football team or you're out with friends, but think about it in a professional setting. What is going to help your team members deliver? What's going to help you get the best results from yourself and from your colleagues? Okay, there's some more work to be done on emotions, and I've included that in the workbook which accompanies this program, and you'll be able to access that via a link below. Let's move on to values. These are incredibly important because we've all got personal values, and they are really driving our behaviour. But we don't always know what they are until somebody inadvertently treads on one of them. So let me give you an example. If you've got a core value around honesty or integrity, and a team member, you find out that a team member has lied to you about something, whether that's they've lied to you about meeting a deadline, or about a type of conversation they had with the client, or maybe they've told you that they need time off for something, and then you find out that they were actually having a very nice time socially for the day and didn't need that time off for some emergency at all. Well, those examples are going to upset anybody, but if you've got a core value around honesty and integrity, you're really going to feel it, and it's really going to upset you. So that's the way sometimes people find out what their core values are, is when they get stamped on by somebody else. But an easier way to do that is to complete a short values questionnaire, which I've included here, and to work through the values, the work values, which are most important to you. Because once you've done that, you can then reflect on those values and think about how they show up in your everyday work. And they will show up either through what is driving you at work, or the barriers, the things that keep coming up as being difficult. Okay, so the last section inside our professional identity circle is norms. And this is a really interesting one, because norms in a professional setting refers to how things are done. And professional norms are often to be found in those formal documents. There'll be sets of standards that your organisation has, the ways to do things. There might be professional standards. So, for example, if you're a clinician, you'll have a set of professional standards you need to meet. And likewise, I'm sure, in whether you're in engineering or construction or healthcare, wherever you are working, there's going to be a published set of standards. So they're the professional norms. But where it gets really interesting is when we get down to the team level, because when you join a team, they'll have their own way of doing things, and they might be complying to the way the business wants things done, or they might have found a workaround. They might have found a more efficient way of doing things, particularly if processes and systems are quite complicated. Perhaps bits have been bolted on over the years, and your team has found an easier way to do things. They might also have created a subculture around behaviours, around their attitude towards the business and senior management, for example, and that's not so good. So do remember that as the team leader, you set the tone for the culture of your team. You set the tone for the way the team is going to manage itself and behave. There's a great book called Strategies of the Serengeti, which is a quite a sort of heavy textbook on business strategy. But what's done so well is that the metaphor of the different animals on the plane is used to explain different aspects of strategy. And the giraffe is described as the leader. And the reason why the giraffe is selected as the leader is because, well, the giraffe is the tallest. They've got the biggest eyeballs and they can see the furthest. And all of that means that they see the predators before any of the other animals on the plane. So the giraffe is looking out for predators, and all the other animals are looking at the giraffe, because as soon as the giraffe moves, they know they need to move too. And that actually happens at the team level in organisations. If you're the team leader, your team members are observing you. They're watching how you behave. They're watching what you do, and they're taking their cue from you. So if you have lots of energy and you're positive and optimistic and you're getting things done, they'll take that cue from you. But if you're very negative, if you say negative things about the business, around senior managers, that sets the tone too. So be really careful. They are watching you. They will move when you move. So create the tone, create the culture that you want to see in your team. Okay, we've taken quite a quick dive there into professional identity. It's a great starting place, and it all helps you to think through who you're going to be as a team leader and starts the thinking process around how you want to manage your team. So our next topic is to think about the common purpose, rallying your team around that core purpose, core contribution you need to make to the business. I'll see you then.